Hi everyone, I am Night Shifter and today we're gonna talk about based Goku's Kaioken. We're gonna talk about Kaioken routes, how to make the most optimal routes possible and give some examples of them, and then I'm also gonna talk about some gimmicks and some Kaioken Okizeme, particularly Kaioken times 20 Oki. Let's get into it. First thing you should know is that you get 3, 5, or 7 attacks respectively before the Kaioken finisher, depending on how many of your teammates are alive. So now that everyone on my team is alive, I get 3 attacks. 1, 2, 3, and finisher. If I kill off 17 here, this number increases to 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 being the finisher, and you also get a level 2, now that 17 is dead. If Broly also dies, I get 7 attacks. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, finisher. And you also get a stronger level 2 when all your teammates are down. Second thing you should know is that 2S, aka this move here, should generally always be the last move you use before the finisher because it gives the most corner carry and I believe also the most damage. Third thing you should know is that you should do your best not to repeat any Kaioken moves in your routes, as this will result in less overall damage. To give an example, I'm going to do 2 Kaioken times 3 routes and compare them. 5S, 2L, 5L, 2M, 2S. I repeated no moves there and I got 2555 damage. If I decided to just mash L instead, for example, into finisher, I will get 2425 damage, which is a fair bit less. This also applies to scaled combos, so do your best to vary your routing as much as you can. Final thing you should know is that during combos, doing the level 2 after the finisher kick but before the dive will always do optimal damage, and I'm going to show off an example right here. So here I've got 5646 damage. And here I've got 5605, which is less, despite the fact that I did the exact same combo and Kaioken route, but only let the dive actually go through. So remember, if possible, don't let the dive rock unless you want to DHC into your other character's level 3 or anything like that. One thing I should point out is that if you do land a raw Kaioken finisher, letting the dive go through actually does more damage, but only if it hits raw. Like 5200 there, as opposed to 5,000, not even 5000 here. So yeah, if you hit it raw, do let the dive go through. Now that we've got all that out of the way, we can finally move on to showcasing some examples of optimal corner or mid-screen Kaioken routes. Note that both variants generally work after a knockdown like JH, or J2M, or 2SSS, or JDR. However, if you decide to end your combo, for example, like this, 5S2M is very likely to whiff, especially against small characters like T Gohan here. Delaying the 2M can help make it more consistent, but personally I would still stick to 5S2L2S, as it works in any situation consistently against any character and you don't have to think about it as much. But you can go by your own preference. If you end your combo by doing 2SSS 236L in the corner, default to the 2M route. Because if you do 5L, 5S, 5H, it will win. as you can see. Neither variant will work if you end your combo with a beam. Instead, try this route for that situation. Now that we've got over some Kaioken routes, it's time to cover some gimmicks and some Okizeme. Ending your Kaioken route on 5S will leave you +8. This means that you have enough time to meaty 2M your opponent, which will beat mashing attempts or trying to jump out if the opponent backtechs. However, this loses to uptech very cleanly. No matter what button I really press, they can uptech and dash out of the corner for free. So if you want to prevent them from upteching, you'll have to make a read. So this option isn't really all that useful, but it can definitely work against people who don't know the matchup well enough. If you end your Kaioken route on 2M 5S, this will leave you significantly more plus. +17, as you can see. This will allow you to do an air dash JH and actually catch uptech. Or well, pretty much any tech really. This will also allow you to safe jump, as I will demonstrate. This option has its weaknesses too though, as it's going to straight up lose to very fast DPs, such as Team Gohan's EX DP here. It also has the weakness of the opponent just being able to run under it if they expect you to do it. Just like that. After a Kaioken times 20 beam, you'll be able to whiff a vanish and then meaty 2M. I'm going to make my opponent block here and try to jump out at the same time. And as you can see, my 2M frame trapped the jump. Now you're gonna need to practice this Oki for a while, because the timing on the vanish is somewhat strict. And if you do it too late, the vanish is what will hit meaty, and you will get absolutely nothing from it. Once they respect your meaty 2M, you can add in other options, which I will showcase here. As a bonus, some cool tech for my fellow Kaioken and neutral abusers. If you do 5S 5LL, this will completely catch jumping out, which is something that a lot of people try to do when raw Kaioken comes up. If you catch them in the air, same thing will work. You can do 2S and then mash L and then whatever else you want. And that is everything you need to know about Kaioken. Thank you for watching, and I hope you've learned something new and interesting from this video. Take care.